Hello and welcome. In our fast-paced, often chaotic world, have you ever found yourself searching for a sense of calm, a deeper meaning, or just a better way to navigate the ups and downs of life? We're constantly chasing the next goal, the next purchase, the next fleeting moment of happiness, only to find ourselves back where we started feeling stressed, unfulfilled, and wanting more. What if I told you that wisdom from over 2,500 years ago holds the key to unlocking a more peaceful, meaningful, and genuinely happy existence? Today, we're going to explore some of the most profound teachings of the Buddha on life. These aren't just ancient philosophical ideas. They are practical tools you can start using right now to transform your perspective and your daily experience. Let's begin with one of the most fundamental teachings, the Four Noble Truths. This is the cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy. The first truth is that life inherently involves suffering, or what is often translated as dukkha. Now, this might sound pessimistic, but it's actually incredibly liberating. Think about it. When we experience stress, disappointment, or loss, we often feel like something is wrong with us or our lives. The Buddha reassures us that this is a universal human experience. It's not a personal failure. From the minor annoyance of being stuck in traffic to the profound grief of losing a loved one, dissatisfaction is a natural part of being human. Acknowledging this reality is the first step toward freedom, because we stop fighting against what is and start working with it. This leads us to the second noble truth. The cause of our suffering is attachment and craving, or tanha. We suffer because we cling to things we want, whether it's a desire for pleasure, a craving for material possessions, or an attachment to our ideas and opinions. We also suffer by resisting things we don't want, like illness, failure, or criticism. It's this constant push and pull. I need this, and I hate that. That creates a state of perpetual unrest in our minds. The Buddha wasn't saying we shouldn't enjoy life or have goals. The problem arises when our happiness becomes completely dependent on getting what we want and avoiding what we don't. This attachment is the root of our anxiety and disappointment. So, if suffering exists and it has a cause, what's the solution? This brings us to the third noble truth. The cessation of suffering is possible. This is the truth of hope. The Buddha taught that we can achieve a state of peace and liberation, known as nirvana, by letting go of our cravings and attachments. Imagine a mind that isn't constantly agitated by desire or aversion. A mind that is clear, calm, and content, regardless of external circumstances. This isn't some far-off, mystical state. It's a potential within each of us. It's a profound realization that true happiness doesn't come from getting everything we want, but from wanting what we already have and accepting what is. And how do we get there? The fourth noble truth provides the map, the Noble Eightfold Path. This is the practical guide to ending suffering. It is not a set of rigid rules, but a series of interconnected practices that cover all aspects of life. It includes things like right understanding, seeing the world as it truly is, not as we wish it were. It involves right intention, cultivating intentions of kindness, compassion, and none. It includes right speech, speaking truthfully and kindly, avoiding gossip and harsh words. It also guides our actions through right action and right livelihood, and trains our minds through right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. It's a holistic path to living a more conscious, ethical, and peaceful life. One of the most powerful teachings embedded within this path is the concept of impermanence, or anicca. Everything changes. Nothing is permanent. Our youth, our health, our relationships, our possessions, even our thoughts and feelings. They all arise, and they all pass away. We often suffer because we try to hold on to pleasant moments, desperately trying to make them last forever, or we resist unpleasant experiences, wishing they would disappear immediately. But embracing impermanence allows us to flow with life instead of fighting against it. It teaches us to savor the good moments without clinging, knowing they are temporary gifts, and it gives us strength during difficult times, reminding us that this too shall pass. This understanding helps us detach and find a stable center amidst the constant flux of life. Closely related to impermanence is the teaching of anatta, or no self. This is a subtle but transformative idea. We tend to think of ourselves as a fixed, solid entity, a permanent me that is the same from day to day. But the Buddha encouraged us to look closer. What we call ourself is actually a constantly changing combination of physical form, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. There's no permanent, unchanging soul or ego at the core. Recognizing this helps us let go of our ego-driven struggles. It softens our need to defend our opinions, our pride, and our self-image. It fosters a sense of interconnectedness with all of life, because we see that the boundaries between me and you are not as solid as they appear. This naturally leads us to the profound teachings on compassion, or karuna, and loving kindness, or metta. If we are all interconnected and all subject to the same universal law of suffering and impermanence, then it only makes sense to treat each other with kindness and empathy. The Buddha taught that true wisdom is inseparable from compassion. Metta meditation, for example, is a practice where you actively cultivate feelings of goodwill and warmth, first for yourself, then for loved ones, then for neutral people, then for those you have difficulty with, and finally for all beings everywhere. This practice rewires our brain for kindness. It breaks down the walls of judgment and resentment, opening our hearts not only to others, but also to ourselves. True happiness, the Buddha taught, is found not in selfish pursuit, but in the joy of wishing well for all. A final, crucial teaching to tie all this together is the power of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment, on purpose, without judgment. In our daily lives, our minds are usually somewhere else ruminating about the past or worrying about the future. We eat without tasting, walk without feeling the ground beneath our feet, and listen to people without truly hearing them. Mindfulness brings us back to right now. It's about observing our thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations as they arise and pass away, without getting swept up in them. This simple act of awareness is revolutionary. It creates a space between a stimulus and our reaction, allowing us to choose our response instead of being controlled by our habitual, knee-jerk impulses. It's in this space that we find our freedom, our peace, and our power to live according to the wisdom we've been discussing. So, how can we apply this in our busy lives? Start small. Take a few mindful breaths before you get out of bed. Notice the taste and texture of your morning coffee. When you feel anger or anxiety rising, just pause and observe the feeling without judgment. Practice right speech by thinking before you speak, asking yourself if your words are true, kind, and necessary. Cultivate compassion by genuinely trying to understand someone else's perspective, even if you disagree. Remember impermanence when you're having a great day, and savor it fully. And remember it when you're having a tough day, and know it won't last. These aren't just ideas to believe in. They are skills to be cultivated. The teachings of the Buddha offer a timeless and practical roadmap to a life of less suffering and more peace, wisdom, and compassion. It's a journey inward, available to every single one of us, right here and right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration today. If this wisdom resonated with you, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more content on finding peace and meaning in modern life. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which teaching stood out to you the most? Until next time, be well and be present.